On India, the RCMP said just last year that the Modi government is orchestrating a campaign of violence and intimidation in Canada that includes murder. Why are you inviting him to the G7, and what message does this send about your seriousness or lack of it when it comes to stopping foreign interference?
So let's put the two aspects in context. First is we are in the role, Canada is in the role of the G7 chair, and in those discussions, as agreed with our G7 colleagues, include important discussions on energy security, on digital future, critical minerals, amongst others, and partnerships actually in building infrastructure in the emerging and developing world. There are certain countries that should be at the table for those discussions, and in my capacity as G7 chair, in consultation with others, some others, make those determinations. India, the fifth largest economy in the world, effectively the most populous country in the world, central to a number of those supply chains, at the heart of a number of those supply chains, so it makes sense. And in addition, bilaterally, we have now agreed, importantly, to continued law enforcement dialogue. So there's been some progress on that. It recognizes issues of accountability. I extended the invitation to Prime Minister Modi in that context, and he has accepted.
As we're aware that India is virtually a permanent member of the G7 plus one. In the last 7-8 years, we have seen that Prime Minister Modi has been consistently invited and has attended, especially as India seeks to play a bigger role like a bridge builder between the East and the West. And we have seen the role that Prime Minister Modi played during this ongoing Russia-Ukraine crisis and other crises. India has also emerged as the same voice in the international discourse. So I don't think it's any wonder, despite the downturn that our relationship with Canada has taken because of the previous government and particularly the previous Prime Minister, who made it his mission to align Canada with terrorist countries, with terrorist groups, extremist groups. Fortunately, the new Prime Minister and the new dispensation, they have an Indian origin foreign minister as well, and several other members of the government. They do understand that terrorism cannot be condoned under any circumstances, and hopefully they will restrain them. And there was a fitting response by the electorate in Canada when they discarded these extremist elements. Prime Minister Modi was one of the first to have congrats and congratulations to the new Prime Minister Carney. And it is in the fitness of things and appropriate that Prime Minister Carney called Prime Minister Modi and invited him to join the G7 summit in Canada. It is an important grouping, and India's voice counts even there. And especially in a situation like this, when we have just come out of a limited war on terrorism against Pakistan, Prime Minister will be able to speak to all the top G7 leaders. A lot of groundwork has been done by the parliamentarians who were sent, our diplomats, our foreign secretary, our foreign minister, everybody. But now at the highest level, a clear message India will convey that world needs to stand together. Besides, Prime Minister Modi will also be going to the BRICS. So once again, as the world is looking to get out of this global churn somehow, I think India's role is going to be quite marked. And let us hope that the good sense prevail on certain elements in the Canadian government and society that extremism can pay.
Mike, the federal jurisdiction is really not my area, but I can say that I think that having India being invited to the G7 summit and our Prime Minister Mark Carney reaching out to India for this is a fantastic development. I think that with a market that's so big, 1.4 billion people, the world's largest democracy, there's a big market there, and there's a lot in common between our countries. And Canada has the largest diaspora of Indian people in the world. What a great arrangement this could be.
So what are the expectations, because India and Canada was not having any good relations in the recent past. So do you believe that the new government in Canada will having good relations with New Delhi and especially with the Prime Minister Modi?
This move by the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, to reach out to India, I think is a very positive development. Things have not been good for the last several years. It's very negative, and it's not okay. We need to have a better relationship with India and move forward on a positive footing. This, I think, signals that they want to fix this dynamic and really mend some very open wounds that are
suffering due to terrorism. Recently India had an escalation with neighboring Pakistan since after the Pahalgam terror attack. So do you believe that this visit of Prime Minister Modi in Canada, as he's participating in the G7 summit, there will be a close talks on eradicating terrorism between both the countries?
Well, obviously I can't say what they'll be discussing, but I would imagine that this is going to be top of mind for Mr. Modi and for Mr. Carney, and I can't imagine that this issue would not be addressed between these two leaders. The attack on the tourists in Kashmir was sickening, and Canada has to take a position on these kinds of things and deal with this. And I'm hoping this will be on the list of items that they deal with, and I'm sure it will be.
Have a concern of Khalistani extremism, separatism, which is existing in Canada, because they're having good numbers there. So do you believe that there will be any talks further on this direction between Mark Carney and Prime Minister Modi?
Well, the situation of Khalistani extremism is a major problem. There's no question. And most Hindus and Sikh people in Canada are not happy with this situation. And hopefully this will be discussed by the federal government with India. I'm in the provincial government in British Columbia, where there is a large Khalistani movement. It's dangerous and scary for a lot of people. And it's time that this be dealt with firmly. And I hope that this will be discussed in meetings between Prime Minister Mark Carney and India and the G7 meeting.